Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's November 1st. It's a snowy November 1st here in Northeast Ohio, reminding us that it's almost winter. Even when it's not almost winter, it's still almost winter up here. It doesn't really matter, does it? How you guys doing today? How's everybody doing?
Great,
Doing
great.
good. Great.
Pretty good, pretty
We've
good.
got some familiar faces. You see, it's always Jackson, Jared, Max, and Nick in the studio there, and I've got Natalie in the other studio. We've got a second. We've got an annex studio. We're important. We're big time. We're big
Yeah.
time. We got a lot of studios. Anyway, how you guys doing this morning? Everybody doing good?
Yeah,
I'm take ready.
Doing
Good,
good.
good.
other than that, doing fine.
Yeah. Other than the snow, right? Yeah, I think we got a good show for you guys today, man. What are we gonna talk about today? We're gonna talk about the college football rankings. First rankings are out of the college football season. The playoff rankings. That's always fun to look at. We'll take a look at who's number one. We may know who that is around here. NFL is going to be in Germany for the first time ever. I think we've got mixed feelings about that on the panel. We'll get into that a little bit later. And geez, what's up with the Cavs, man? I guess we have to talk about that later too. But let's start off as always with some headlines. First, real quick breaking news this morning. Raiders kind of cleaning house. They fired head coach Josh McDaniels, GM Dave Ziegler. They're just I wanted to mention that real quick because it looks like they're going to bench Jimmy Garoppolo now. I don't know what exactly is going on. But it looks like the Raiders are looking ahead to maybe, not this year, maybe not even next year, but they might be. I don't want to say tanking, but they might be looking to tank a little
They're
bit.
going to rebuild mode for sure.
They also fired their OC this morning too.
Oh, did they really? They got rid of the OC.
They fired their
Really cleaning house.
OC, and now they're benching their quarterback. So
Gotcha. All right. Well, okay. Well, around the world in sports, the Rugby World Cup final was held in France. South Africa beat New Zealand 12-11 in a thriller to clinch, I think it was South Africa's fourth title.
second in a row, I heard.
Yeah. So that went down. Other sports around the world, Lionel Messi wins his 8th Ballon d'Or as just read it to you here. The Ballon d'Or is an annual football award presented by French news magazine France Football. It's been around since 1956, and it's basically it honors the best soccer player in the world. No,
Yeah.
I know there was a brief FIFA deal for a while, but they've since branched back off, and now it's just known as a worldwide award, I think. So, congratulations to Messi on that. More hardware for him. That's it. You never stop hearing the end of that, do you?
No.
And then just real quick too, I did want to mention former NHL player Adam Johnson's been honored around the league after suffering a fatal injury on the ice. Police have opened up an investigation into that. Just obviously condolences to him, his teammates, his family. Tough situation. Never want to see anybody, lose their life doing what they love. It's a tough one, but again, he's being honored around the league. Lots of moments of silence and things like that. And then just kind of staying on hockey, I did want to move on to just some NHL action. Max, Jackson, guys, you guys are my hockey guys, man. Vegas and Boston, they look, I don't want to say unstoppable, but man, they're really off to some quick starts. What's going on there?
They're picking off where they left. They're picking up where they left off, especially Vegas. Last week, each team did suffer their first loss, but it's an overtime loss, so it does not go in the loss column. It'll go in the overtime loss column.
Let me just say, hockey's so weird with that. That's weird. Okay, Go ahead.
It's wins, losses, overtime losses. It's very weird. But Boston lost to Anaheim. Boston was up 3-1, and the Anaheim came back in the final minute to win. And then the Blackhawks, I believe, beat Vegas in overtime, and Connor Bedard scored again. Shocking.
But he was a bust.
I thought you said he was a bust.
He's got 4 goals now. So
Oh, he's not a bust anymore. He's got 4 goals. That's the threshold. Now we know.
I didn't say that.
You didn't like how he was playing, though.
I don't like how he's playing right now. I think he's too conservative. He needs to break out.
Okay,
Give him time. Give him time. He just started.
All right.
that's fair. Jackson, let me ask you this. So we know the Bruins are off to a fast start. Are they really built to make a deep playoff run? I mean, we've seen kind of what's happened in the past with them. I think they can. I mean, can they sustain this until the playoffs? It's a long season.
Short answer, no. Reason being, well, there's bad news, there's good news, and there's bad news. Bad news is Boston starting pretty much how they went last year. So it's going to be a long season for teams in the conference itself. Good news is, however, I'm looking at the teams that are right behind the Bruins. Rangers right there, 7-2. Detroit 6-3-1. Montreal 5-2-2. Not to mention, it's good to see the original 6 teams doing well. It's very hard to get them all to do well. It seems to seem time, so it's good to see that. But I'm looking at the playoff run. This is where you're going to see the end of Boston. One of those teams I just mentioned, I'm thinking Rangers, possibly Detroit. It's going to be one of those guys that's going to pull off the unthinkable in the Bruins season again. But for the season, I think it's going to be the Bruins again, just because the way the NHL is set up, there's only so many good teams. So if you're a really good team, you're going to accumulate a ton of wins, sometimes in your division. So it's going to look like the Bruins are going to have a phenomenal season. But when the playoffs start, that's when things will get sticky.
Fair. That's fair. We will see. I mean, like I said, it's a long season. You know, I don't know if hockey is a longer season to me. It just feels like it's always hockey season to me. Is that right?
Oh, well, the end of that, it's a long season, but there's seasons within the season. Like your first 20 games, that's kind of like just getting things going, seeing who you are. But then around between Christmas and Valentine's, between Christmas and the All-Star, you're kind of figuring out what transactions you should make, what you need to do to get better, buying or selling. But then after that period, now you're in the playoff rush. And then after the playoff rush, you have the ultimate playoffs. And we know how hard the Stanley Cup run is. So the NHL season, it's long, it's grinding, but it is divided up into different phases of, fortunately.
Yeah.
So every approach is different.
Yeah. I will say this: I think the Stanley Cup playoffs are like maybe the NHL maybe has the coolest playoffs. I don't know.
Well,
it just seems like such a grind.
Outside of March Madness, I believe, outside of March Madness, men's basketball, even women's March Madness, I think the NHL playoffs, you get a very convincing, this is exactly who the winner should be. It's very rare an NHL champion's crowned and you feel like there should be an asterisk or you feel like these guys got lucky. I think the Stanley Cup is tough. It's probably the least most luck needed to win the trophy, if I can word it that way.
Yeah.
It's a grind.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I'm not a huge hockey guy, but that's what I've heard. And I just, watching some of the playoffs peripherally, it seems like you really do end up with the best team. I mean, when everybody's left standing, that's it. I mean, you've got the best team. So I don't know. We'll see.
They start in May and then they end in June. It's like it's a long time for those guys. And those teams that they make the playoffs or they get a spot early, they still have to play hockey games to better their seeding. They can better their seeding even if they clinch a spot. Yeah. If they clinch the division, they're the number one seed in that division. But if they make the spot, earn a spot, they can still play to have a better seeding.
Yeah.
But you mentioned playoffs. That the way it's seeded, I wish they would go back to the old format. I think you get an actual champion per se. You start in the division. You got the division teams match 1 through 4, 2 and 3. Then you got the conference. The 2 division winners meet up. It's like it's more round robin. It just makes better sense. Now they got it. 1, 2, and 3 are certain teams. 4, 5, and 6. And then 7 and 8 those final teams. It's just weird how they set it up now.
Right.
They should go back to the division.
One thing that you said, Jackson, that caught my ear, I didn't realize how similar to the NHL season I really was, because right around that, being married and having kids, from that, Christmas to Valentine's period and my wife's birthdays in between there, I am also in transaction mode. Very few things sold, but I'm always seeing what I can buy. So I'm kind of similar to the NHL season there. Listen, I don't want to move on to the Cavs because it's kind of a sad, but we got to move on to the Cavs. We got to talk about the Cavs. Guys, I don't know who wants to get me started on this, but is it too early to say the Cavs are off to a slow start? Am I allowed to say that yet?
It's a little too early, I think.
Yes. I think it's too early. Then you still have some injuries with your main play like Garland and Jared Allen. They're really beneficial for the team. Of course, we all know that. So I think it's a little bit too early. Just give them some time. They'll be fine, I believe.
Okay. I'll give them some time. I just feel like they're the same team as last year, but they lost a lot of that hustle and a lot of that, like, I don't know, interior just
Like the drive.
muscle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if they can get that perseverance and that drive back from last year, even the year before last, that we can kind of win some games. We don't want to just keep losing, of course, but I think by being so early, we need to give them a few more games and see what happens.
Natalie, you and I talked about it off the show the other day. I think Okoro is showing some improvement, don't you?
Oh yeah, especially with that 3-point shot. Like he's been really accurate. He's been, making sure that he's, on point with every single play that's handed to him. Pretty much, he's been, driving to the hoop, being aggressive. He's been good. He's been improving a lot. I'm really looking forward to his season.
Me too, guys. What do you think? I mean,
Hey, Chad,
how do we feel about the Cavs right now?
I don't think it's too soon at all to say they've got off to a slow start. A couple of things I want to point out. They lost. We saw how they exited the playoffs last spring. It carried over into the beginning of this year. They've already lost to that team again just the other day, the Knicks.
The same kind of way, too.
Same kind of way. They didn't get any better there. They lost to Indiana. Last time I checked, Indiana was in their division. They're not winning their division games.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's in that division. Outside of Milwaukee, you have Indiana, Detroit, Chicago. And the way I see it, the Cavs are in the prime position because the division's weak. Outside of Milwaukee, they should be contending for that division. Not 1-3. They've had a chance to play a division opponent, lost. They had a chance to play a big-time rival, playoff exit guy, lost. So no, it's not too soon. They're 1-3 for a reason.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're a part of that weakness in the division. Instead of taking advantage of that, they're a part of it. So
I was just about to say, you got to take advantage of the division you're in. You get to play the Pacers and the Bulls and the Pistons like 18 times. Yeah. There's so many W's to collect in your own division, and it's week 1, and you've already gave up one to the Pacers. It'd be different if we played the Bucks. I wouldn't be so, but it was the Pacers.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to lose a ton of playoff seeding, here in November, late October, early November. But yeah, Jessica says Okoro will ball out this season. I agree. I think he's doing great. But yeah, I think you can kind of set the tone for yourself, starting off 1-3, coming out sluggish, similar loss to the Knicks. I mean, just it feels like the playoffs. It feels like that, that lull.
Ironically, I had the Cleveland as lightweight one of my sleeper teams. Yeah. I see improvement on the horizon. I don't think they're going to be trash. I don't think they're going to be a lottery pick. That's not where I'm coming from. What I'm saying is these guys should be 3-1 or 4-0 based on the schedule setup. And then the division you're in. I mean, there's so much just right there for your taking. So I do see the Cavs as a sleeper.
Yeah, I get it. We'll get to that in just a moment too. But I want to move out west for real quick. I want to ask a way early question. Listen, Luka's got to be the favorite for the MVP right now, right?
I would say so. Yeah, Luka's doing his thing.
Man is not even aiming; he's just throwing the basketball up to the net.
Here's this thing, right?
Yeah,
somewhere.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I love Luka. I've always loved Luka, but yeah, those are tough shots to just, especially at the last minute of the game. You know how much pressure that is, of course. Yeah, he's just like throwing stuff up there. So at this point, I'm like, yeah, Luka for MVP at this point. Yeah.
I wonder how big the rim looks to him right now.
Yeah,
he threw it 100
49, and he had 49 points that night.
Yeah,
I feel like it's too soon to talk MVP with anybody because the way I look at MVP, it's supposed to be most valuable player, and I thought it was that was meaning most valuable to your team. So I need to see what your team is going to do in the long run to see how valuable you are to it. So I understand how statistically, yeah, we can throw you in the mix, but over the long run, how is the team going to do? And that should play a bigger factor as far as MVP goes, because that's what the word is, valuable.
That's a fair question.
Are you valuable?
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
valuable if you're a walking
Absolutely.
and you don't win? How valuable are you?
Yeah. I mean, plenty of guys that put up 35 points a game on losing teams, right? I mean, that's
not very valuable. That's not
volume
valuable.
shooting. Yeah.
That's not valuable.
Nikola Jokic is just he's throwing up 29 points a game. I mean, would he rather be racing horses in Serbia than shooting a ball into a hoop? Most likely. But
Jokic is a valuable guy to his team, because if you take Jokic away from that team, they're not who they are right now. So
Nope.
we can put Jokic in the conversation right now. I just proved why.
And Max, I think you listed one of the maybe couple of hundred things that Jokic would rather do than play basketball. Sometimes if you look at his face out there, it cracks me up. I will never stop talking about this man for the rest of his career. It cracks me up how grumpy that man looks on the floor.
I saw a video last week, and it was him during practice. I think he was done for the day. He was taking on his phone, and his teammates said after in their availability said, "Yeah, he was watching horse racing."
I feel bad for the guy, man. He's 100% being forced to be out there right now, man. I kind of feel bad for him.
It's and even in the Western Conference Finals, he's like, "I want to go home." And he's like, "I'm happy that we made it to the finals. I want to go home now."
Yeah.
But he still had to win 4 more games. They did it. Finals came around. He didn't even want to go to the parade.
Honestly, why is he even playing?
Is
it just like a hobby for him?
I don't.
Because he's under contract.
Day job.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
That's what he goes to work.
Yeah. I think his brothers are forcing him, to be honest with you. I think he can't say no to his brother, forcing him to play. They enjoy that. So
Right. They enjoy watching their brother, who's 6'8", destroy little tiny people.
yeah, we can get into the Serbian mob another time, but that's fine. Listen, I want to get to your guys', you know what I mean? I want to get to your guys' again, since we're doing stuff way too early in the NBA season, let's kind of back up or fast forward. I don't know what we're doing. We're going some direction, some way. Let's talk about our conference finals matchups. Let's just see. I want to go around the table and we'll just kind of start. I'll start with Jared down there in my bottom left. Jared, give me just Western Conference, Eastern Conference. Just give me your finals matchups real quick if you want to. Not a ton of analysis, just 2 teams. Well, 4 teams.
Eastern Conference matchup right now, I have the Bucks and the Celtics. I really think that is the Eastern Conference matchup that all NBA fans want to see. And based off of all the offseason acquisitions they've made, I definitely think on paper they're destined to face each other in the Eastern Conference Finals. For the Western Conference Finals, I still have the Nuggets. And right now, the Clippers. Do the Clippers look good on paper? Do I think they can do it on the court? Well, that is to remain to be seen, because we've seen it many times in sports where they look good on paper, but then they don't perform on and off the field. So that has remained to be seen, but right now that's what I have, Nuggets and Clippers in the West.
Okay. Max, thoughts?
I kind of agree with that one in the East, but I'm going to go, it's going to be Milwaukee and Miami.
Okay.
And, Milwaukee's going to get its revenge this year because Jimmy Butler's not going to be able to play as good as he did last year. And then in the West, I think it's going to be the Mavericks and the Suns. And, I mean, right now the Suns have some injury trouble, but that's obviously can change in a couple of weeks. But I think it's going to be Bucks Mavericks. The Mavericks will win in 5.
Okay. You're getting way ahead of us, but that's okay. That's fun. I like your enthusiasm. You think they take down the Nuggets? Don't even get to the conference finals, really?
No, I think the Suns will win 7.
The Suns can be an explosive team. If there's anybody that can beat them in the West, I do agree with you. It's the Suns.
It'll be in 7, but the Suns will prevail.
Okay, that's fair. Let's go to the other side of the. I'm sorry, Max. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
KD game winner.
Fair enough. All right. Okay, I like it. Let's go to the other side of the table. Let's. Nick, you over there still, buddy?
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, what's going on?
I think East is about as big of it just seems like a lock that we're headed towards Bucks Celtics. The only way that we don't is if the seeding gets messed up and they end up as the 2 and 3 seeds and they end up matching up in the second round. But either way, I think we get that playoff series at some point. And I think whoever wins that series, say it is in the second round, that's still the Eastern Conference Finals in my opinion. The winner of the Bucks and Celtics series will make the finals. Okay. And out west, I'm going to go with Phoenix and Denver. I just really like this Phoenix team right now. They have so many offensive weapons with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, obviously. their team. I just don't know how you're going to guard that team for a whole game. Like for a 7-game series, it's going to be really hard to guard that team.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, NBA, it's a game of runs, and they're gonna have a ton of runs. I mean, not the kind you get when you go to Taco Bell late at night, but yeah, the scoring runs.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Hey, Jackson, what do you got, man? Give me some conference finals.
For the East, I got Boston. I feel like they're built for this. They were built for this last year. I see them as one of the teams. I struggle with that second team. I'm feeling Boston, Milwaukee. I don't want to be the bandwagon. I just feel like I can't leave Miami out the mix. For some reason, they're playoff ready come playoff time. So at this point, I'm going to say Boston and Miami. For the West is way different. I mean, I feel like as long as the Nuggets are the champion, and this is just a too early pick, I'm going to put the Nuggets there because I have no reason to not have them there. I would just be hating to not have them there. The other team, it's kind of insane because now I'm thinking Lakers, but that's just I don't want to think with my emotions on this one. I want to make a logical pick. So it comes down between Suns and Kings for me. People sleep on the Kings. They're going to be much better this year than last year. I think this could be the year they get past a couple humps. But if the Suns stay healthy, I'm going to have to say Nuggets and Suns for right now. That could change in 3 weeks, but right now, Nuggets and Suns.
Okay. All right. Natalie, what are you thinking? Oh, I'm sorry, Jackson. I'm sorry.
Well, the East, I would definitely go with pretty much what everyone else is saying. The Bucks and Boston. Possibility of Miami, but like Nick was saying about Jimmy Butler, I don't think he's going to be getting a whole bunch of playing time. That's the Eastern, so it can go a lot of ways, but right now that's my two top as far as the sleeping on the Eastern. But the Western, I'm not going to give up on LeBron. I never will, never have. I'm going to put him on hold, but I do believe that we're going to probably may see him in AD. But realistically, I would say I watched the game last night with the Suns and the Spurs. I'm going to say, the Suns and the Clippers at this point. Like you guys were saying, it's on paper. Yeah, we see they got weapons of mass destruction on that team. Okay. We see that, but seasons can go a lot of ways. So depending on health, if they're healthy, if everything coincides with what they need to do, then they'll be fine. But yeah, that's what I'm banking on now is the Clippers and Phoenix. I mean, the way they played last night, it was pretty good. So yeah.
I agree with most of you guys. I think it's hard to count out the Heat because of Eric Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler. Butler always seems to get hot at the right time. I mean, I wouldn't mind. It's not that I wouldn't mind. I could see Celtics Heat, I guess. I think the Bucks are going to have some chemistry issues down the road. I don't know why. I just feel that's going to be a weird dynamic down the road. They might have some issues down. Maybe I'm totally wrong. But yeah, West Coast is tough, man. I think it's got to be the Nuggets and probably the Suns, right? In the finals. I don't want to say who wins yet because it's way too early. And also, it's probably my bad to ask you guys who the MVP is. I mean, we got to see who's going to play 65 games first, right? Like, let's see if let's let them get on track for 65 games played, and then once we see they're going to hit that minimum, then we can talk about that a little bit more down the road. Yeah.
I wanted to mention LA Clippers. A couple people mentioned them. I didn't mention them, but I feel like they were worth at least on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I just see a lot of missed shots with this team. A lot of missed shots this year. That's why I can't have them in that conversation. And we haven't even seen Kawhi Leonard whole season. It's like if this were video games, yeah, but in real time, I don't think.
Yeah. Which Kawhi do you get physically? I get that. And I just think the Nuggets are just, I mean, they're such a machine that, I don't know. If they stay healthy, I think they're there, right? I don't know.
Definitely.
That's what
Well,
I
that's
think.
supposed to be the Lakers story. They can stay healthy. But once again, with the Lakers, even it's like AD. Okay, if the season lasted 35 games, we'd be good because that's about how much trust I have in AD. You
But
get
it's
about
never 35 straight games.
well, that's the thing. Well, I'll take it or leave it. 35 is what you get.
Fair.
What 82, man, right?
Yeah. He's not built for 82, and it's not physical. It's not meant. I don't know what it is with him. I don't know. Look,
He's
these
not-
guys are human, right? They got any number of things on their minds. Who knows? Who knows what's on his mind? Who knows?
To me,
But I do want to move on to honestly a sport that's it's really close to wrapping up now. I mean, it's not too early to talk about this one at all. Nick and Jared, you
We're
guys
here.
watching the World Series at all? There's a thing going on. It's kind of important.
Oh yes, Nick. I've been watching the World Series very closely. Last night's game, Game 4, was in the record books. The Rangers now 10-0 on the road, and they have 5+ run innings 5 times. They've done that in the postseason this year. Their offense is electric, and Corey Seager with another home run last night. Now he has 19 as a shortstop in the postseason, one behind Derek Jeter, and they're doing this. They did all this last night without Adolis Garcia. So the fact that they're doing that with one of their big bats, the ALCS MVP, it's just amazing. And I really do think that they're going to close out this World Series tonight. They're perfect on the road. So what's stopping them from continuing that? And their bullpen was good at the beginning, a little shaky towards the end. But at the end of the day, they had such a big lead. They got the job done. They got the victory. And I see that doing them again tonight.
Yeah. Same. Nick, what do you think, buddy?
This Rangers offense is unbelievable. And they're so fun to watch because you don't know when they're just going to explode because they have been kind of quiet the past 2 games. Like they've won game 3, but they only put up 3 runs in that game. So this was the offensive explosion that we've been waiting for with Texas so far in this series. And now, I mean, they're in control. They're up 3-1. They only need one more win. They have Nathan Eovaldi going to the mound. He's a playoff ace. You know how good he is in the postseason. So I think that there is a good chance that they close it out tonight. I kind of hope that they don't. I want this series to keep going. I want this to be a competitive series. I want it to go 6 or 7 games. But I can't bet against Texas tonight with how well they've been playing the last couple games, especially with their ace on the mound. And Corey Seager is special.
He's ridiculous.
The fact that anyone ever questioned why the Rangers gave him that much money, I mean, they're looking like fools right now. They are. Because he's a big game hitter. He's proven it. He was a 2020 World Series MVP in the same ballpark that he's playing in right now in Texas. And now he mashed in the ALCS. He had a game-tying home run in Game 1. He's homered now 3 times in this World Series. He looks on track for his 2nd World Series MVP with 2 different teams. Like
one in the AL, one in the NL.
One in the AL, one in the NL. That's special. That's Hall of Fame resume type stuff right there. Corey Seager is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. And I think at this point with Adolis Garcia out too, it's like he is the guy in that lineup that they're scared to pitch to. But why are they still giving him pitches to hit is the real question. Why? Why?
You got to pitch to somebody.
And that's the thing too. Like, yes, obviously Garcia, he's your big bat in your lineup. Obviously, you don't want him to go down. But at the end of the day, everyone is contributing. Like Garver has had some big hits.
Evan Carter, the 21-year-old rookie, has been amazing.
Jonah Heim, their catcher. Everyone is contributing. It is just not him. And Corey Seager with that World Series title in 2020. Eovaldi also has a World Series title from 2018 with the Red Sox. So the fact that they have that World Series and championship caliber experience, it just flows and flourishes through the rest of the team.
You know where that comes from? It comes from their 3-time World Series champion manager, Bruce Bochy, who has now managed 3 different teams to the World Series, the Padres, Giants, and now the Rangers. He could be on track to now get his 4th ring. At this point, do you have to start talking about him as maybe the greatest manager ever, like, or at least in modern history? Like 4 World Series?
Is it weird that he's going to win it in an odd year?
Oh, that might be, yeah. He only won it in an even year. Giants, and he's managing one of the teams that he beat when he was the manager of the Giants in the World Series back in 2010. So I think Bruce Bochy at this point, if the Rangers close this series out, he's in the discussion for greatest manager, at least of the last 50 years, maybe.
and definitely will be going to Cooperstown because
he's been a lock. He's been a lock for years to go to Cooperstown. Yeah.
And the Rangers, the Rangers, they deserve a World Series title because lost in 2010 to the Giants, lost in 2011 to the Cardinals. So they do deserve a World Series title. And like you said, Nick, I do want the series to be competitive, but I also kind of want it to end. So the Rangers get that World Series title and the fact that it's in the AL, because we're Guardians fans. They're in the AL. So as long as it stays in the AL, I'm fine with that. But I kind of hoping this series ends tonight.
I'm not.
Hey, Jared, I heard you made the statement that they're doing all this without Adolis Garcia. I think I'd have to correct you and say they're doing this for Garcia. I heard he had a big speech with the team, very emotional, very deep, told him he loved him. And from there, let the dogs loose, man.
Yeah. And but they lost Garcia, and I think they're doing it for him, but also doing it for Scherzer too. Again, World Series champion in 2019 for the Nationals. To be fair, though, did I want to see Scherzer back to Scherzer self? Yes. But in the end, do I think he did contribute to some part of this World Series?
He pitched great, and honestly, there's 3 things that
he did. He did. But I don't think Scherzer contributed as much to this hopeful future World Series ring as he did in 2019 with the Nationals, not because of injuries and stuff like that. So I think with them not having Scherzer, I don't think they're missing that much is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think they're missing more with Garcia than they are with Scherzer.
And we forget, though, too, with this team, I mean, their biggest free agent signing this past offseason, Jacob deGrom, got injured in May. They gave him $37 million a season. Hasn't pitched since May. And John Gray, another big free agent signing, he's been huge for them. I got to give a shout-out to John Gray. He has never been a reliever in his entire career. Has came out of the bullpen now twice in this World Series and 8 huge innings for them. He's another one of those big free agent signings. But so the fact that 3 of their big free agent pitchers that they've added, or I guess Max Scherzer via trade, have all had injuries. John Gray got injured right before the end of the season. Same with Max Scherzer. They haven't had Jacob deGrom since May. Without 3 of your big-time free agents and you're still about 1 win away from the World Series, that's just shows how resilient this Texas team is.
It just shows how electric their offense is.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, Jared, Nick. Now that we've gotten down to this moment and we're probably thinking Texas is going to win it, do you think Texas is the actual most complete champion this year? Like, is there any teams that we're leaving any doubt behind, like the Phillies or Dodgers, Braves, any of these guys? Is Texas the actual champion this year?
Texas earned it.
Yeah, they earned it. They got hot at the right time. I mean, the regular season and the postseason is different. We don't care what you did in the regular season. You can have 117 wins and beat the Mariners' all-time regular season win record. I don't care. It matters what you can do when it counts. So I don't really care about the Braves or the Phillies if they would have faced the Rangers instead of the Diamondbacks because they didn't perform when they counted.
All right. That's enough. Yeah, the Rangers. Let's talk about a D-backs comeback in the works.
No one wants to hear that.
It's happening. They are. This is where they're going to kick it into gear. They went down 2-0 against Philadelphia, tied that up 2-2. Okay, they're down 3-1 now. Right now it was 2-2 in the NLCS, but now they're going to kick it into high gear. They're going to pull a Cubs comeback.
Okay. All right, maybe. Hey, listen, a couple of things about the World Series. I did, Jared. Listen, you mentioned it. The Rangers are 10-0 on the road in the postseason. It's ridiculous. They're 10-0 when they score first in the postseason, and they're 8-1 when they out-homer their opponents. And just another thing too, Nick, you mentioned Seager. That there was a lot of backlash for signing Corey Seager, and I think there's something to be said for having World Series experience at probably 2 of the most important positions on the field, right? Shortstop and your starting pitcher. I mean, I just think Eovaldi and Montgomery have that rotation set up so well. I don't see any way the Diamondbacks can come back in this. We got to start the paperwork on getting Max's name changed to Mid-Take Max. I think we got to do it, right?
Wow.
We got to do it. I'm kidding, Max. I love you, man.
All right. So if the Rangers lose, what happens? Do I just not talk for a whole show, or
No. If the Rangers lose, you get to. I have to eat crow, and you get to rip on me for an entire show. You can say whatever you want. It's fine.
Okay, but what happens if they win?
Nothing. We just keep talking about sports and whoever. It doesn't matter. You're never gonna have a perfect take. It doesn't matter, Max. We're just giving you a hard time, buddy. Let's move on. Listen, speaking of teams that just aren't gonna do anything, maybe. What what happened to the Browns this weekend? You guys, the Browns found another way to lose a game that, I mean, they probably should have won, right? They lost to the Seahawks 24-20, kind of heartbreaking fashion in a way. I mean, a couple of times they could have had this game wrapped up. Please tell me why this never stops happening to the Browns.
Because they don't run the football.
Huh?
Well, in all honesty, I'll start because I think Nick's going to have a little more to say than me on this one. I'll just say I picked Seattle to win this game, but I picked them to win this game, and it wasn't for the reasons that they ended up actually winning. I thought the trip itself, the jet lag, I thought maybe the fans, I thought maybe the offense would sputter, the fans would get to them. I saw mistakes on the horizon, offsides, holding, all that. I thought it would be like the Browns doing things of that nature. What I didn't see was the outcome that happened. I didn't foresee that. When I saw the Browns could actually possibly win that game, I was getting excited. I didn't care if I messed the pick up. I was actually thinking, okay, here. And then when that third down took place, that 3rd and 3, I had a gut feeling. I said, watch this guy throw it. I was joking. I was kidding with myself. I was just like, rambling. I didn't really think he was going to throw the ball for real. Man, when the whole sequence played out, I knew at that moment that game was over and Seattle was going to win. Sorry, fellas.
No, I mean, I think you're right. Yeah, once the ball hit, I mean, literally when it hit the helmet and went up in the air, I was like, here we go. I knew it. I knew it was getting picked. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be, a 15-yard catch over the middle. I mean,
in all fairness, though, there's enough going wrong on the Browns where I guess something like that could happen. A lot of people are saying that it doesn't matter on that particular play. The guys were open. There were 2 people open. All they had to do was catch it. I still say Green Hunt should at least been on the field. And why not attempt to? I just don't understand the Browns. I don't understand how they come to conclusions on the plays they decide to call. Is it analytics? I don't get it.
I don't know. I mean, I think a little bit of analytics goes into it. I think tendencies, you want to try to buck your tendencies a little bit. You don't want to play into a team's hand who clearly has the advantage on the road. You know what I mean? I just, maybe if they're expecting the run, you call the pass there. And like you said, he had guys open. I mean, Walker made the wrong read. And I guess my question to you guys is, and I'll let you answer. Whoever wants to answer this can answer it. Can you get mad at Kevin Stefanski for play calling when he calls a play that you can watch it on video? It should have worked, right? I mean, they had options. They had viable options. There should have been a completion for a first down if Walker had made the correct read and thrown the football the right way, right? Do you blame Stefanski? I mean, is it play calling or is it execution at that point?
To me, no, you can't blame Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski is 4-3 without Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson for the majority of this season. He's forced to put an XFL quarterback out there who is 5'10" and can't see over the line of scrimmage. I mean, Jerome Ford was wide open on that last play. All he has to do is not make up his mind where he's going with the football before the play even started. Just hit Jerome Ford, who's wide open. First down, you win the game. It's that simple. I don't blame Kevin Stefanski for trusting his quarterback. He's in the NFL for a reason. He is. He should be able to hit a wide open check down with nobody near him. He should be able to. Yeah. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be playing quarterback in the NFL. You just shouldn't be. I'm sorry. I'm sick of the reason the Browns are losing, they're not winning these games, even when they beat the Colts, even when they beat the Niners. Their quarterback play has held them back so much with PJ Walker under center that it's almost impossible to watch this offense. It really is, because there is open receivers. Stefanski's calling fine plays. Elijah Moore is one of the best separation rates in the NFL, but he never gets the football because he just doesn't see him.
You know why? Because he's the second or third option on most plays, and Walker never gets that far through his read.
No, he makes up his mind before the ball's even out every single time, and he has no accuracy. He's constant. He has the worst accuracy rate in the NFL. He has the worst expected yards per play in the NFL. I'm sorry, I can't blame Stefanski when he's being held back by the worst quarterback play in the NFL by far. Especially when we saw the offense play well last year when he had a competent quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. The offense played well in 2020 when Baker Mayfield was decent. Stefanski has gotten the most out of some of these quarterbacks. I just don't think PJ Walker is a guy you can win with in the NFL because he is. I'm sorry, he's just bad. He's so
Yeah.
bad.
One thing's for certain that nobody's said yet: that offense is wasting the defense. What I mean by wasting the defense, the defense literally either wins the game or keeps them in the game. And it's like if the offense just did a little more, if the offense could just average 28 points a week.
If the quarterback had a wide open receiver.
I'm just saying they're wasting the defense right now.
Oh, absolutely.
The defense is there. The defense is good enough. If you get 25 to 28 points a week, you're in the playoffs, and you're probably going to give Baltimore a run for the division.
Yeah.
No, that's
It
why
feels like a 6-1 defense, and they're 4-3.
That's why it's so frustrating.
Wow, Chad. That was taking the day right there.
I really don't think you can really. Now, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do blame Stefanski for certain calls, like the one like we were just talking about, the 3rd and 3, and yeah. And I blame him like 50%. Okay. Like, I just truly believe we should have ran and we would have been okay. But like Nick was saying, you know, you have to be able to execute as a quarterback. I don't care if you're 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th string. You have to be able, you're in the NFL, you're a professional athlete. You have to act as such and play as such. Like Jerome Ford, I mean, he's not the best person to catch the ball because he has those buttery fingers sometimes. But at the end of the day, he was wide open, and you know, the fans, you know, I'm a big fan, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me. But yeah, Stefanski is working with what he has. I mean, you have to work with what you have, and if you don't do something, you'll never know how it's going to turn out. So he ran the play, it didn't work, you know, with him and his quarterbacks communication, or, you know, their energy together. It just did not work. We accepted the loss and we're moving on. But yeah, I don't think you can blame Stefanski at this point. Like, it just shows you can't, with that play alone, you can't blame him. I mean, his play calling is not always, you know, the best, but he's working with what he has at this point.
But Natalie, would you or would you not agree with me that when it comes to the NFL in particular, if you're not winning and you're not getting it done, why does the organization take it out on the coach? Why is the coach the guy that gets fired? It's like they're not going to get rid of a quarterback. They're not going to get rid of players. They're not going to get rid of personnel, front office. Why is the coach going to be the face of, you're the problem, and here's what we're going to do to fix the problem? You're not your desk. Why is that the vibe?
Right. I don't really believe, like you said about Stefanski being the face of the problem, or the team.
What I'm saying is, if this season goes derailed, they're all going to, like, you're saying great things in his defense, but at the end of the day, if you don't win, if you don't get certain things done, it's the coach that gets fired. No matter how, it's not your fault. You can't throw it to yourself. You can't be the one out. I'm just saying he's going to be the fall guy at the end of the day.
I think the bottom line there, Jackson, is you got one coach, right? And there's 32 spots open, so you got plenty of guys, right? Like waiting to get in. You got 53 guys on the roster. You can't just clean house every year. If things don't go well, you can't cut 26 guys and go, hey, we're starting over, right? Like, you can't do it.
And you keep changing coaches. Like, I mean, you're going to keep changing coaches too. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, we have weapons. We have good. I mean, we have a good team, to be honest. When we're healthy, we're good. It's the situation. You have a 3rd string quarterback starting now. Okay. Everyone's upset with Deshaun and, you know, in the whole situation with that, you know, but at the end of the day, PJ Walker, I don't know. Maybe he needs to just go in the gym at like 2 a.m. or something and like start practice. I don't know. Maybe he needs a mentor. I don't know. But
he needs to watch Rudy before the game. He needs to watch Rudy and get all fired up and come out here and be the underdog and do something. Yeah. Right.
I mean, my thing is, if it was me and I was PJ Walker, I would literally be like just making a name for myself. You know, I would be, you know, really, really showing people what I'm about. But, you know, I'm the last game he played better. I mean, I don't think he was that bad in the last game. He did a couple of improvements, but, you know, it just has to get better from now on. I mean, it does because we don't have any other options.
It does have to get better. And I want to stay in the NFL real quick. I want to move on from the Browns, just because wow, I can't believe it's time goes so fast on this show, you guys. Time goes so fast. But I do want to get through a couple of things here. First of all, listen, Kansas City, the Chiefs, okay, they lost to the Broncos, who gave up 70 to the Dolphins a few weeks ago. Just honestly proving that the NFL is just absolutely impossible to predict. You can't ever predict what's going on in the NFL. And now I think it's interesting that what's going on here. The Chiefs are, I don't know, who do they play? They play the Dolphins in Germany. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
First of all, I want to talk to you guys a little about what's going to go on in there. I think it's I have London on the slide, don't I? I have London on the slide. That's the graphics department. We'll talk to them after the show. That's supposed to say Germany. First ever game in Germany. That's why I'm thrown off here. But yeah, tell me about. I don't know. I want to hear about Dolphins Chiefs in Germany. What's going to go down there?
Well, what I was saying earlier about the matter, they have the wrong team playing this game in Germany. I mean,
yeah.
Not to be that guy, this game should be played on American soil. This game should be played at a decent hour for American football fans in America.
Yeah.
Living Eastern, Central, Mountain, or Pacific time zone. This game is a playoff game. This game has playoff implications. This game is going to be making a statement down the road when it's time to do the seedings.
Yeah.
I don't like this game in Germany. However, I do get it. It's about marketing, about growing the game. It's a good look for them, I guess. They're going to get to take. You know what's crazy? The people in that stadium aren't even going to be able to appreciate that game the way we would appreciate that game, but they will appreciate that game nonetheless.
Yeah. The entertainment value of the game will be there, but I feel like when you go to Germany and you play, it's kind of without context for those fans, unless they're really diehard NFL fans, right?
They don't. I mean. Right, exactly. That game matters. And it's not mattering because it's an international game. It's mattering because of all the reasons I listed.
Yeah. It'd be like if we had a huge international matchup. Like I'm struggling to even list two soccer teams, but two big international teams. It'd be like if they came and played in Akron, I think that would kind of be lost on us a little bit, wouldn't it? Like, I mean, I know some of us on the show are soccer fans, and we got people that are fans of soccer around the world, but I feel like that game, like let's say you've got, I don't know, whoever, Manchester United and whoever else playing in Akron. I feel like, why, right? Like,
well, the thing is, for Kansas City, it's considered a home game. So if that game is played in America, it would be played in Kansas City. What's freezing in Kansas City? So the Dolphins would have to make that trip in the cold. That's a totally different. Like, you see what I mean? This game, the importance factor outweighs the logistics of it needing to be a game used as a marketing tool. Yeah. This isn't the game you use as a marketing tool. You pick one of those primetime matchups as a marketing tool. Yeah. This game matters.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was very surprised to even hear that they, like, especially Kansas City and Miami, I was surprised to hear that they were playing over there. I'm like, okay. It, like Jackson said, take a primetime team, take and use it as a marketing tool, because, a lot of people have, like, they're like up in the air, like, why are these two teams playing in Germany at 9:30 in the morning? It'll be very, very interesting to see, how it turns out.
Home field advantage in the NFL is huge, especially in the winter. Yeah. Kansas City is one of those teams that playing them at this time of year in Kansas City, it's an advantage if you're coming from a warm weather state. So if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you may not be feeling this right now. Like, there's a lot of reasons why this is the wrong game to put in Germany. And
real quick, I want to say two things. One thing about the weather. People always say, well, hey, it's not like all these guys on the Dolphins are all from Miami. They don't, but you adapt so quickly, right? Your body adapts to the warm weather, the cold weather, whatever it is, you adapt quickly. And when you go into the other climate, it's shocking, right? Like if you go from 80 degrees and sunny to 35 degrees and snow, you feel it in one day, right? You still feel that.
There's a reason they call it the Miami flu in all sports.
Yeah.
When you're an away team and you go to Miami, man, stay in your hotel, play the game, get the hell out of there. Yep. The Miami flu is real. So imagine playing there. It takes no time to acclimate. It's way easier to play football in the warm than it is in the cold.
Yeah. Cramps aside, yeah. I mean, you're going to get some cramping issues, but yeah, your body is just more limber. You can move better. And let me guys ask, I just want to ask you the real question. All right. Chiefs, Dolphins, Germany. We know it's not in London now. It's in Germany. Let me ask you this. Do the Chiefs need Taylor Swift to win?
Yeah.
Seems
I'm
like
not even answering. I'm not even answering.
I don't, I would love to see Taylor Swift here. I love Taylor Swift. But yeah, I think at this point, yeah, they need Taylor there. She's just
she's got to be
like a
there,
little
right?
charm. Yeah, I mean, she has Kelsey. I mean, Kelsey loves her. Yeah,
Right?
I think if she wasn't in the booth with mom and the rest of the peeps, like it would be kind of weird not seeing her. I think she needs to be there. Yeah.
Well, it's unlikely she's going to be there on Sunday, so the Chiefs are going to have to shake it off. But it's going to be whatever.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, guys.
There are statistics showing that Travis Kelce performs better when she's in the building.
Yeah.
And I joke with Jared about having your girlfriend present at the game. You're gonna ball, man. I don't care what you do in life. If your girlfriend is there, why would you want to lose and take an L in front of your girlfriend?
Jackson, she's been to what, like 3 games? Where was she when Kelsey won 2 Super Bowls? It does not matter.
Yeah, they just got together.
Hold on, let Jackson finish. Hold on.
She wasn't in his life then. So everything he was doing was just off the strength of Trav. It was just off the strength and his love for the game. He wanted to take it to the next level. Now he's at the next level. He's won some rings. He can't be hungry anymore. Uh-oh. Look what he's dating. My life changed. I got a girl in my life, man. Any girl. My girl's a billionaire, bro. I'm going to ball.
Do you think that would be like a marketing tool? Do you think that's like something like a marketing tool with Taylor and Kelsey?
How can it not be? She's one of the most awesome singers of our generation.
His jersey sales went up 400% within the first 2 weeks. So, I mean, yeah.
She's opened up a whole new audience to the Chiefs.
I wonder how her jersey sales are, by the way.
Travis Kelce now is on a world level because there's people overseas that have nothing to do with the NFL, love Taylor. They see her boyfriend. Now they're wondering who the hell he is. So it works well for everything and everybody.
It does work well. But guys, I want to get to the college football rankings. We got to get to the crown jewel of the show, man. We want to talk about the college football rankings, all right? First rankings came out last night. I was a little surprised to see the Buckeyes at number 1. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not that they don't have the resume, they don't have the defense. They have a championship defense. I just was surprised with the offensive struggles. But here's the thing, okay? We can take a look at the graphic. We can show the full. We've got the full rankings up there all the way through 25. Here's the question so there are 5 undefeated teams right now, right? We've got all 5 at the top are undefeated. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington. Everybody's sitting at 8-0. One of these teams, everybody's not going to be undefeated, obviously, at the end of the season, but one of these undefeated teams is going to be left out of the playoffs. You guys' gut, who is it?
I think right now the team that is not in the college football playoff is Michigan. Not only because of the scandal issues they've been having but they're also going to be playing Ohio State. And right now, with Ohio State's resume and with their defense, I do think they beat Michigan. I do think that game is going to be a defensive game, truly. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Chad, a lot of people are surprised that we're number 1, including myself, because I'm just not confident enough in our offense that we should be number 1. But because of the resume, we are. But at the end of the day, I definitely think Michigan is a team that is going to be left out, especially after Washington's dominant win against Oregon a few weeks ago. And with Florida State's conference, it's not as competitive as the Big Ten or the SEC right now. So I think at least Michigan is one of the teams that loses a game here and is out of the college football playoff.
Okay. Max, what do you think, buddy?
I mean, I think it's going to be Washington. Okay. Because, I mean, you look at it, and Washington is like normally one of the last 4 teams out every single season. And even though, they don't – last year, they didn't make the Pac-12 championship game, but they were up there as one of the best teams all year. And that's happening again this year. And it's Ohio State's number 1, and I'm all for it. But I mean, they did have 2 key victories against Penn State and Notre Dame. But these other teams like Georgia, Michigan, and Florida State, they haven't really faced anybody. I mean, Michigan faced who? They're
Rutgers in Minnesota.
Where they're apparently their big games that were important. And then Georgia was Kentucky and Florida. Okay, Kentucky was number 24 at the time, and they were pretty good. And then Florida was unranked, and they still got beat pretty badly. But I think it's Washington because even though they're one of the best all-around teams right now, they almost lost to Arizona State. It's pretty bad if you almost lose to Arizona State. And you're like a top 10 team and you almost lose to Arizona State.
That's
and
fair.
Florida barely beat Boston College earlier in the year. They won by 3. So right now I think the top 3 are solidified. I just don't know about the bottom.
Okay, Nick, who do you have getting left out at the end of this? Which one of these undefeated teams is not in the playoffs?
I do think that it will be Michigan after they lose to Ohio State, because if Ohio State ends up 11-1 losing to Michigan, that they will still get in because the resume is good. Michigan does not have anywhere close to the resume. Plus, there is a cloud surrounding that program now that where there could be some potential bias that could keep them out of the playoff if they're 11-1. So I don't think an 11-1 Michigan team is good enough to make it in my opinion. So I think Michigan will be out if they lose to Ohio State. But I also think another one of these teams is going to lose at some point. I mean, there's still 4 games left plus the conference championship. We're not going to end the season with 4 undefeated teams. We're just not.
No, we're not. And Florida State has been living pretty dangerously at times. And Washington has a tough run of games coming up here. I know USC is going to give up probably 100 points in that game, but USC is still a ranked team. They've still got, they've still got some offense, but they've got who else do they have? I think they have who do they play here coming up? They've got Utah and Oregon State coming up. So
so I think that we could see. I think 2 of these teams in the top 5 are going to be out by the time the playoff comes, and I think Michigan is the one that I'm confident saying will be. I think I'm confident saying Ohio State and Georgia will be in there.
Okay.
Because the only way Ohio State doesn't get in, it's like if they lose 2 more games. I feel like they can afford 1 loss, unless it's 2 an unranked team coming up. If their 1 loss is Michigan, they can get in. But if it's 2 an unranked team, they can't. So
Jackson, what are your thoughts on this?
It's complicated. I'll just talk fast to let you guys connect the dots. Michigan, I'm not completely sold that Ohio State would beat them. That's one thing there. Michigan is a great team, but we know what they've been up to. I don't know how much of what they've been up to plays into them being a great team. If they didn't have the sign stealing, I do see them in the mix. Yeah. The team I'm leaving out is actually FSU because of something Jared said. I don't see the ACC as a threatening conference. I do see that conference as soft. I see Washington in because of things like running the table and beating Oregon senseless. And Oregon's a really good team. Yeah, they are. So I'm looking at it a number of ways. It's really weird. I guess bottom line is my biggest problem is if Michigan is left out, I think I'm okay with that based on what's been going on if they lost. But if they get in, I mean, I feel like the credibility of the college football playoff's at stake if Michigan gets in because it's like overlooking the obvious. So I feel like we need to see more because it's only the first ranking week per se. And the committee has shown what they look like. They've shown their hand. They've shown how they're going to be thinking. So now that we know that, I think we should all cross our fingers for the next few weeks because I don't trust these guys. If they're going to let Michigan in based on everything we know, I really don't trust this committee at all.
That's fair. I got my fingers crossed, but I don't know if I can do it for a few weeks. I'm going to get hand cramps. So maybe just every once in a while. Is that okay?
Like Nick said, there's a lot of things that has to happen between now and then, even conference championship. So
I gotcha. Natalie, what do you think? I just want to get your thoughts real quick before we get out of here. Who do you think gets left out of this?
I would say between Michigan and Washington, like the guys were saying, they really haven't seen anyone, detrimental, in the whole scandal thing. But like Jackson said, hey, they may get in because of that. You never know. It's early. I'm just going to continue to keep watching and observing. But I would definitely say Michigan or Washington at this point is a 50-50 for me.
That's fair. Yeah,
So-
something Jackson said off the show that I thought was pretty poignant was like it seems like the committee is ignoring the sign stealing scandal while inadvertently addressing it. I don't
Right.
know. It's really confusing. It's always confusing with the committee. It can't be an easy job.
Yeah,
I
No.
don't know.
But
Yeah.
one thing but the
like
thing
all in
is,
circles.
Yeah.
But cheating is obvious. Cheating is easy to understand. You may not understand how to rank these teams undefeated. You may not understand whose schedule is the best, the toughest, but you can understand cheating.
Yeah.
So
But for right now, it's still alleged. I mean, as much as we want to believe that they're really doing this and it looks like they're doing it, it's still alleged. All these things are just their allegations that nothing's been proven. And the committee really can't do anything until but then the committee will tell you they're separate from the NCAA and they don't care. Again, it's really confusing.
so what's going on? Is Michigan just about to play for a title they're going to have to give back?
Do you put them in there knowing that? I mean, if that's a real possibility, does
Why
that
wouldn't
I think
if
would
you-
factor in.
It should factor. If you feel like this team could possibly give the title back, there's no reason to put them in there to contend for the title.
I agree. Well,
You
listen,
know what?
somebody's getting left out. I think there's a real possibility we could end up. Listen to me, hear me out. I think there's a possibility we could end up with Washington and Oregon in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
That's possible.
I mean, let that play out and see how that. I mean, think about that in your mind and think about like process what has to happen there. There's a lot. And what did Tressel used to say? He used to say something about champions are made in November. Something happened in November. You grow a mustache. I can't remember what he said. He said something about November, right? But yeah, I mean, we're obviously coming down the stretch, and we're gonna find out. I mean, one way or another, this is all gonna play out, and we may not like how we see it at the end, but we will see it get played out at the end. It's gonna happen. So that's all we can do. And this is all we can really do. Man, I can't believe an hour goes so fast with you guys. I swear this is the fastest hour of my week. And I have kids, so that's saying something. I just want to go around the horn again for Jared, for Max, for Nick, for Jackson, for Natalie. Welcome to the show, Natalie. It was great to have you on today.
Thank you so
And
much.
for me, your host, Chad, we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you listening. Follow us on social media. Keep an eye on TikTok and Instagram. I know, guys are always releasing videos during the week. So, make sure you go there for more content as well. Just search Come On Ref. And until then, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace.
Peace.